And when you're ready, start to slowly wake yourself up by wiggling your fingers and your toes, perhaps rocking your head from side to side, rolling out your wrists and your ankles. And if it feels good, bringing your legs into the midline, taking a deep inhale in, reaching your arms up over your head, reaching nice and long. And then exhale it all out, letting it go. One more time, deep inhale in, nice long reach. Perhaps rock from side to side, shoulder to shoulder, even kidney to kidney if that feels okay. And then on our next breath, releasing our left leg to the mat, flexing those toes towards our face, holding that right leg in. Again, you can hold on to the tops of your shin or the top of our thigh. Shoulders are back and down on the mat, making sure we're releasing any tension here. And finding those little micro movements as we inhale, releasing just a little bit, and exhale, pulling our knee in just a bit deeper here. Then on our next breath, bending our left leg, placing our left foot on the mat, and reaching our right foot up to the sky. Your leg doesn't have to be straight, it can be bent if you like. And we're just gonna massage on our hamstring just a little bit here. Give ourselves some love before we get moving. And then placing our fingertips on the backs of our thigh. Again, your knee can be bent if that's okay. And we're gonna flex and point our foot here. Stretching out the front of our leg and then the back of our leg here. You can over exaggerate your movements if that feels okay. And then we're going to circle our foot out in one way, listening to all those cracks and pops that happen. And then circling out the other way. Beautiful. Releasing that right leg to the mat, flexing those toes towards our face and hugging in the left knee this time. Knee to shoulder. Again, shoulders back and down. And just finding those little micro movements. Bending that right leg, placing the right foot on the mat, reaching the left leg up to the sky this time. Again, if your knee is bent, that's perfect. Just giving our hamstring a massage on our left side this time. Holding onto the back of that thigh and just flexing and pointing those toes. And then circling it out to the left or the right, whichever way you'd like to go first. And circling the other direction. Beautiful. Now hugging both knees into chest for a breath. Releasing our legs. We're going to place our hands on the tops of our thighs and we're going to pedal out our knees this time. Hugging one knee in and then the other. You can circle your knees around, opening up your hips if you'd like. Just finding some organic movement here, whatever your body needs. And then hugging our knees in one more time. Now we're going to flow with those legs side to side this time. So we're going to release the left leg out, hugging in our right knee just a little bit. And then inhale, exhale, releasing the right leg. And just moving one breath, one movement here. Finding that moving meditation. And if it feels okay, lifting our heads and our neck and our shoulders off the mat. Warming up our core. And one more time, each side. And hugging our knees and releasing our shoulders and our head back on the mat if they were lifted. And then releasing our feet to the mat. Bending our knees, bringing in our heels as close as we can to the back of the buttocks. But if we're taking care of our knees, making sure we're moving them away from our body, making sure our knees are pointed straight ahead like headlights on a car. You can tuck your shoulders underneath your body if that feels better. And then rooting into the shoulders, the tops of the arms, and all four corners of our feet. We're going to inhale and lift our hips up to the sky, bridge pose. And holding this for a few breaths. And inhaling one more time, perhaps lifting up just a little bit more. And then as we exhale, lowering slowly one vertebrae at a time. Going through our bridge flow, inhaling to lift, exhale to lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhaling to lift, exhale, lower. 2 more times here. And one more time. And then slowly lowering one vertebrae at a time. Bringing our feet further away from our body, feet to the edges of the mat. Arms can be cactus or in T. We're just going to sway our legs from side to side, releasing any tension we built up there. And then the next time our knees fall to the right, we're just going to hold them there for just a few breaths. You can look out over your left shoulder if that feels okay. And then we're going to inhale our knees back to center and slowly lower them to the left as we exhale, looking out over our right shoulder this time. If it feels good, not looking straight ahead. Bringing our knees back to center, heels toeing our feet together, reaching our right or our left arm up above our heads, rolling over onto our right or our left side, and just setting our intention for our practice here, using our bicep as a pillow, letting go of judgment, letting go of competition, and letting go of expectation. Pressing into that palm and finding our way up into seated just for a breath here. Now seated can be, you can be in kneeling, you can be seated, you can be on a block, you can be on a pillow, whatever is most comfortable for you today. And just make a few wiggles out here to settle fully in. So our practice this evening is, every week has a focus. Today our focus is going to be being one long line from the crown of the head to the spine, or to the tail. The reason for that is we're very hunched over right now looking at our tablets or computers or whatever. So we're going to try to lengthen out to alleviate back pain. But that also means engaging our core for the entire practice. So it doesn't mean doing sit-ups, it just means a lot of what we're going to do is engaging the core. So we're going to kind of just wiggle out and stretch out before we get moving here. So hands can be on either knee. Elbows are nice and heavy on the sides bodies here. Crown of the head reaching high to the sky like we have that string pulling our spine up nice and straight. And we're just going to start shrugging our shoulders, rolling them back and down. In one direction. And then we're going to roll them forward if you went backwards first, or whichever direction is different. Beautiful. We're going to roll out our neck here. So we'll do half circles to the left and half circles to the right if that feels okay. If you want to just look left or right, whatever you need in this moment, perhaps a full circle. Knowing that this is your practice. I am just a guide. And then bringing ourselves to center here, placing our hands just on our knees. And as we exhale, we're going to round our spine, chin to chest, seated cat. Inhaling forward, shoulders back and down, looking up ahead, neck is open or throat is open. Cow. Exhaling back into that seated cat. Exhaling into cow. Couple more times here, slowly moving one vertebrae at a time so you really feel this movement. and allowing our breath to blossom with each movement you take here. And one more time through. And finding that neutral spine. And on our next breath, finding our way into tabletop. Remembering in tabletop, fingers are spread nice and wide, shoulder blades are over our wrists, hips are over our ankles, our spine is nice and tall, crown of the head reaches long. One more time, finding that long line of energy from the crown of our head to our spine. You're going to say that a lot this evening. I apologize in advance. So we're going to warm up our obliques here. So as we exhale, we're going to look over our left shoulder to our left hip, finding that oblique crunch. Inhaling to center, exhale, looking over our right shoulder to our right hip. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the left. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the right. Inhaling to center, one more time on each side. Beautiful. And we're just going to circle our hips out. So rolling our hips back and around, kind of like we have a pencil in our belly button and we're drawing a circle on the ground. Probably not the best way to visualize this, but it's the best I got right now. So making those nice big circles, shoulders up past our wrist or fingers and around, and then finding the other direction here. And then finding that neutral spine again, releasing our left leg to the back of the mat, tucking those toes. Right arm lifts forward if that feels okay. If not, leave your arm on the ground. If you'd like to add on lifting that left leg off the mat, spinal balance, holding here, pressing out through our palms. Shoulders are protracting up towards the sky. One more breath here. Exhale, releasing. Inhaling our right leg to the back of the mat, tapping those toes, left arm forward this time. Lifting that right leg if that feels good. Toes are flexed towards the face. Spine is nice and tall. We're not rounding into our back here. Exhale, releasing and flowing from side to side. Inhaling, lift. One breath, one movement at your own perfect pace. And one more full round here. And then releasing back to center, knees to either side of the mat, big toes touch, sitting back on our heels, palms stretching forward, forehead to the ground. Child's pose. Knowing that you can find child's pose whenever you would like. If it feels good, you can rock your head from side to side, massaging that out. Whatever you need here. And then on our next breath, making our way back up to tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back into downward facing dog. Once again, thinking of that long line of energy from the crown of your head to the tail. Back should be nice and straight. You can bend your knees as much as you need to make sure your back is straight. The goal of this pose is not to reach your heels to the ground. It's to keep your back straight, stretching out your hamstrings. You can pedal this out if that feels good. Once again, exaggerating those movements if that feels better. And then just holding this in stillness for a few breaths here. Perhaps letting out a big sigh. And then on our next breath, slowly walking your hands back to the back of the mat, to your feet, forward fold. Again, bending your knees as much as you need to make sure that your belly is on the tops of your thighs, firmly rooted here. Your neck is just nice and long and dangling. You can hold on to opposite elbows if you like. You can rock side to side. You can release your fingers and do that figure eight. or you can stay in stillness. Whatever you would like. We're going to inhale to halfway lift. Again, noticing that long line of energy here. Spine is nice and tall. Hands can be on our shins or our thighs or on the mat, depending on where you are right now. As long as our back is nice and straight, you can bend your knees. And we're going to exhale, lower. Inhale, reaching our arms all the way up to the sky. And exhaling back into mountain. And we're going to find mountains for a few breaths here. So we're going to roll our shoulders back and down, palms facing forward, ready to receive. Our crown is nice and tall, reaching high to the sky, shoulders over hips, hips over our ankles. Feeling ourselves deeply rooted, like we have roots growing on the bottoms of our feet into the ground below us. And we're just going to take a couple really nice big sun breaths because it's such a beautiful sunny day. So we're going to inhale our arms all the way up to the sky, nice big inhale. And then exhaling our hands to heart center, drawing it all in. One more time, inhaling all the way up. And exhale, bringing all that amazing sun energy back down through to your heart center. And we're going to find a lateral reach here. So we're going to reach our arms all the way up to the sky. And we're going to find that beach ball effect again. Like we're holding that huge beach ball up in between our hands. And we're going to root into our left foot as we reach up with our left fingertips and side bend to the right. Now, you may not go very far, and that's okay. And just holding this for a breath or two. Inhaling all the way up back through center, rooting into that right foot, reaching out through our right fingertips. Trying not to drop our beach ball here. Bending to the left. And inhaling all the way back through heart center, hands to heart. Inhaling all the way up. Exhale, hinge at our hips, bending our knees forward, fold. And we're going to slowly walk our way out to plank or kneeling plank, whichever one is suiting you better today. So we're going to do that wave back to downward facing dog. But if you're in kneeling plank, just stay in kneeling plank, back to child's pose. Remembering that whichever one we're in, we're one long line. So the crown of the head to the spine is one long line, or to the tail. Shoulder blades are over our wrists in whichever position we're in. Protracting our shoulders up to the sky, and we're going to hold it for a couple more breaths here. Building some heat. Whispering to yourself, I am strong. And then as we exhale, we're going to go high on the toes, hinging our hips up and back to downward facing dog or child's pose. Inhaling to the tops of our toes, over a hurdle like a wave, forward into plank. Exhaling back into downward facing dog or child's pose. Inhaling up over that hurdle, forward. A few more times here, because I know you're having so much fun. And one more time, up over that hurdle. And then back to downward facing dog or child's pose. Again, you can pedal that out if you need that right now. And if you're in child's pose, just making your way up to downward facing dog because that's available. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves forward to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to hold this halfway lift this time. So wherever your hands are, that's fine. And we're going to find airplane arms. But first, we're going to make sure that we're one long line here. Spine is nice and tall. We're going to lift our arms beside our bodies, palms facing down, fingers spread nice and wide. Shoulder blades are just pulling together just a little bit here. Airplane arms. We're going to use this a few times. This is going to use a lot of core to keep yourself up. One more breath. Exhale, lower. Inhale, bending our knees, reaching our arms all the way up to the sky. And exhaling into mountain. Now we're going to flow, but I need a drink quickly. So feel free. We are going to move or flow a little bit slower this evening. That doesn't mean we're not going to move. We're just gonna add a few more things in. So, standing at the tops of our mat, finding that lovely mountain pose again. Feet firmly rooted. We're gonna inhale our arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hinge at our hips, bending our knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, reaching that left foot to the back of the mat. Finding that runner's lunge if you can on your fingertips. Right knee is over our right ankle. Lowering that left knee, untucking those toes if that feels okay. Making your way up to kneeling lunge. Again, knee is over our ankle. And we're gonna find this just for a breath or two. And then on our next breath, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna circle that left arm back and down, right arm reaches forward, twisting open to the left, making sure our hips are still square to the front. And if that means keeping your hands at prayer or on your hips and you're not moving that much, that's okay. We're just gonna open up to the left here for a breath or two. And then on our next breath, reaching that left arm back and up, lunge, planting our hands, right knee meets left, back into child's pose for our breath. Inhaling forward to kneeling plank, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, lowering all the way down, elbows into our ribs. Inhale, rooting into the pelvic bone, cobra. Word escaped me. Exhale, lower. Inhale, pressing through our palms back into child's pose. Inhaling forward, bringing that foot between our hands again, hand to heel if we need to. Finding kneeling lunge. Exhale, lower our hands, tucking those toes, bending that left knee, left foot meets right, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaching our arms all the way up to the sky. And then exhaling down into chair for a breath. Knees behind our toes. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling into mountain. Other side, inhaling. Exhale, hinging, bending our knees, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching our right foot back this time. Finding that runner's lunge on this side. On your fingertips here, chest is reaching forward. Lowering that right knee, untucking those toes if that feels okay. Reaching up, holding for a breath. Knee is over our ankle, checking in here. And then as we exhale, circling that right arm down, opening up to the right. Again, hands can be at heart center on your hips, making sure our knee isn't splaying out or moving. Hips are square to the front of the mat. Inhaling our arm all the way up. Exhale, planting our hands. Left knee meets right. Child pose. Inhaling forward through kneeling plank. Exhale, lowering. Inhaling up into cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhaling all the way back to the child's pose. Forward into tabletop. Left foot between our hands. Up into kneeling lunge. Planting our hands, tucking those right toes, right leg bends, right foot meets left, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaching our arms all the way up. Exhaling back into chair for a breath. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling into mountain. Now we're gonna add on. You can stay with that flow if you'd like, or you can add on. Inhaling all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hinge at our hips, bending our knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, left foot to the back of the mat, high on the ball mound of that foot. You can lower your knee if you'd like in the kneeling lunge, or making your way up in a high crescent lunge here. Right knee over our ankle. Tucking our pelvic bone just a little bit here. Making sure we're not shrugging our shoulders. And then as we exhale, circling that left arm down, opening up to the left. Again, hands can be at heart center or on your hips, or you don't have to twist at all. Inhaling our arm back up. Exhaling, planting our hands, right foot meets left in a downward facing dog or child's pose. Inhaling that wave forward to plank or kneeling plank, shoulders over wrists. Lowering our knees or through full chaturanga. Inhaling cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, lowering. Inhaling up through tabletop. Downward facing dog. Inhaling that right leg to the sky, bringing our right foot between our hands, heel to hand if we get stuck. Kneeling lunge or high crescent lunge. Exhale, planting our hands, bending that left foot meets right, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, inhaling, bending our knees, reaching high to the sky. Exhaling into mountain. One more time. Inhaling all the way up. Exhale, hinging at our hips, bending our knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, full, planting our hands, right foot goes back this time. Kneeling lunge or high crescent lunge. Left knee is over our ankle. And then as we exhale, circling that right arm down, opening up to the right. Inhaling back up. Exhale, planting our hands, left foot meets right, downward facing dog or child's pose. Blowing forward into plank or kneeling plank. Lowering all the way down into chaturanga or all the way to the mat, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling through tabletop up to downward facing dog. Inhaling our left foot to the sky, bringing our left foot between our hands. Lunge or kneeling lunge. Exhale, planting our hands, right knee bends, right foot meets left, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bending our knees, reaching high to the sky. And exhaling into mountain. And just because I forgot chair in those last 2 ones, we're going to do some chair flow. So bringing our hands to heart center, big toes touch, sliver between our heels. We're going to lower into chair. So lowering our hips, bending our knees, making sure our knees are behind our toes. So looking down, making sure we're not arcing our back. Belly button to spine, holding in our core here. You can lower your hips down if that feels okay. Hands can be at heart center or all the way up. Holding chair for a couple breaths. And then as we inhale, we're going to reach our arms all the way up to the sky and slowing our hands down, palms facing down, reaching up. Exhale to lower. Inhaling up. Exhaling lower. Inhaling all the way up. And one more time through here. Reaching all the way up and hands down through heart center. Finding our way into mountain here. On our next breath, releasing our left leg to the back of the mat, and we're going to find our high crescent lunge again. Now, if high crescent lunge is not comfortable for you, you can find warrior one, where your toes are pointing to the top corner of the mat. Either way, they're closed hip poses, so either one is fine. Hips are square to the front of the mat. Right knee is bending over our right ankle. Hands can be at heart center. They can be all the way up to the sky. They can be at your hips, wherever you would like. And because we've reached the hatha part of our practice, we are going to hold this for a few breaths. Making sure our shoulders are back and down. And holding and breathing. And we're going to find those airplane arms. So in order to do that, we're going to reach forward. So straightening that left leg, bringing our elbows to the side body, reaching our arms behind us, palms facing down. Again, one long line of energy, high on the ball mound of that left foot. Using the strength of your core, so belly button to spine, holding yourself up here. And if you need to come out of it, that's okay. If you wobble, that's okay. One more breath here, inhaling all the way up. High crescent lunge. Bringing our hands to heart center. Heel toeing that out, finding our warrior two. So heel to heel or heel to arch alignment.
Lunging into that front knee, knees over our ankle, hips are open to the left here. Arms forward and back, looking out over our right fingertips. Beautiful, strong warriors. Palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalting our warrior, lateral bending back. Your left hand can be on the side of your leg, can be wrapped around your low back, whatever feels good. Still looking straight ahead, lunging into that front knee. Only thing that's moving is your torso. Exhaling back into warrior two, bending that front arm, placing the top of your arm on the top of your thigh, circling that left arm back and down. Supported side angle. Making sure we're not dumping our weight in here. We're rooting down to rise up here. You can go into extended side angle if you'd like. Elbow into knee, knee into elbow. If you'd like full side angle, arm can reach forward, palm facing down, bicep by your ear. And then using, actually, you know what? We're gonna straighten that right leg, tipping our left hip back, finding triangle. Almost missed triangle. Feeling that beautiful stretch here. And then using the strength of your core, finding your way back to warrior two. Bringing your hands to your heart center. Straightening that right foot. Pivoting your toes here so your toes are facing towards the long edge of your mat. Hands on your hips. Inhaling, lifting high to the sky. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge at our hips, reaching forward into forward fold. Finding our halfway lift here first. So bending our knees as much as we need to make sure that our back is nice and straight. Our neck is just one long extension of our spine. And then as we exhale, we're going to walk our hands into the midline, elbows to the back of the room, crown of the head to the mat. Inhaling forward to that halfway lift. And we're going to heel toe in just a little bit because we are going to find airplane arms on this in this pose as well. So you can bend your knees if you need to, if you feel that that will support you a bit more. And we're going to lift ourselves up, reaching our arms back, making sure our spine is nice and tall, palms facing down, fingers nice and wide here. Belly button to spine. Reaching out through the crown of your head. And then we're going to exhale full, placing our hands on our ankles, elbows out to the side body here. Crown of the head to the ground. Inhale to that halfway lift, bending our knees, hands to hips, rise all the way up. And heel toe that in. And we're going to find that on the other side. So finding our way back into mountain for a breath. Reaching our right foot to the back of the mat. Woo! Almost fell just getting into it. High on the ball onto that foot, left knee is over our ankle. Crescent lunge or warrior one. Arms again can be all the way up. They can be at heart center, they can be on your hips. Shoulders back and down, remembering to breathe. One more breath here, and we're going to slowly go under the ball onto that right foot, tipping forward, bringing our arms beside our bodies, shoulder blades together, palms facing down, fingers wide, reaching to the back of the mat, airplane arms. Holding for one more breath here. I'm shaking too. Inhaling all the way up into crescent lunge. Bringing our hands through to heart center, pivoting that right foot, finding that warrior two on this side. So heel or heel to arch alignment. Left knee over our ankle, arms forward and back. Warrior two. Again, shoulders back and down. Palm facing up, a little reach forward, lateral reach back, exalting our warrior here. Still lunging into that front leg. Exhaling back into warrior two, bending that front arm, top of the arm and the top of the thigh, circling that right arm back and down, opening up into supported side angle here. You can go into full side angle, elbow into knee, into elbow. You can reach that arm up over your head, bicep to your ear, palm facing down, reaching through the tops of your fingertips. Straightening that left leg, tipping your right hip out. Triangle. Inhaling all the way up to warrior two. Bringing our hands to heart center, heel toeing our feet to the middle of the mat, and finding our way to the top of the mat in mountain for a few breaths here. Again, rolling our shoulders back and down, palms facing open, ready to receive. You can close your eyes for a few breaths, perhaps finding a drink of water. I always forget to cue that. And for our balance pose, we're going to find balancing chair this evening. So I'm going to face you. So your feet can be hips distance apart. They can be closer together, wherever you would like. We're going to find balancing chair. So hands can be at heart center. We're going to go high on the ball mound of the feet. So up under our tippy toes, like we're wearing our high heels here. And then we're going to slowly lower our hips down into chair. Hands can stay at heart center. They can go all the way up. And if you fall out of it, that's okay. Holding for a couple more breaths here. Inhaling all the way up. And exhaling to mountain. Inhaling all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hinging at our hips, bending our knees, forward fold. Inhale to that half lift, flat back. Exhale, planting our hands, bringing our feet back to table, and then lowering all the way down to our mats. Placing our elbows underneath our shoulders, palms facing down, looking out ahead and down into Sphinx pose. Trying to actively release all the muscles in your low back and in your buttocks. This is going to strengthen your low back, alleviate low back pain, sciatic pain. It's just a beautiful stretch here and a lovely supported back bend. We're going to hold it for a couple more breaths here. And then exhale, lowering all the way down to the mat. Hands to either side of our body by our ribs. Pressing back into child's pose here for a few breaths. You can have a closed leg child's pose, wide leg child's pose, whatever feels comfortable. Once again, you can rock your head from side to side, massaging that out. And on our next breath, making our way into the middle of our mat and finding our seat. Legs stretched out, fleshy bits away, rooted on our sits bones here. We're going to inhale all the way up to the sky, and then we're going to hinge at our hips, folding forward, seated forward fold here.
Holding for a few more breaths. And then slowly making our way back up. Bending our knees, soles of the feet together. Now your feet can be further away or closer in. Whatever kind of feels more comfortable for you. We're gonna fold forward here. If you want, you can put blocks or pillows underneath your knees. So we're gonna inhale our high to the sky once again, making that long line of energy from the crown of our head to our tail. And then we're gonna hinge at our hips, bending our elbows, folding forward here. And then slowly making your way back up. Before we get fully back down to the ground, we're gonna go into boat pose. So finding your sits bones here. Again, that long line of energy from the crown of your head to the spine. Our feet are on the mat, knees are bent. You can hold it to the back of the thighs just to feel this out first. And you're gonna zip up your core. So belly button to spine, and you're gonna lean back. Again, we're not gonna be hunched forward. If you're hunched forward, you're too far back. So leaning back that little bit. And we're gonna go through each modification of boat, and you can add on as you would like. So our first modification of boat is lifting our right leg and then the left. And again, you can be up here, it's okay. If you'd like to add on, you can lift both feet up, arms to either side of your body, palms facing up into boat. And if you'd like to grow your boat, you can straighten your legs. And holding for a few breaths here, whichever modification you're in. One more breath. Reaching our legs down, wrapping our arms around our knees, high to the sky, chin to chest, stretching that out. And then we're gonna find either inclined plank or reverse tabletop. So I'll show you both, and you can find out which one you prefer. So palms are gonna be on the mat. Your fingertips can be facing your back of your body or on an angle. If we're going into reverse tabletop, they can be facing out to the long edge of your mat. So wherever your placement is there. So reverse table, or knees are bent, feet on the mat. And as we inhale, we're gonna lift our pelvis up to the sky, reverse table. If you'd like to try reverse plank, legs are out, straight. And then you're gonna lift your hips up to the sky, rolling your toes down into reverse plank. So whichever one you'd like to take, find that. And then as we inhale, we're gonna lift our hips up to the sky and holding for a few breaths here. One more breath and slowly lowering all the way down. Finding our way into the middle of our mat, holding onto one knee, rolling down onto our back, both knees to chest. Again, we can rock from side to side. You can find stillness. You can roll out your knees, whatever you need here. Releasing our left leg to the mat, crossing our right ankle below our knee. Figure 4 stretch, flexing those right toes. If this feels okay, stay here. If you'd like to add on, reach through to the back of that left thigh, pulling that left leg in. And if you'd like to add on even more, you can straighten that left leg to the sky, flexing those toes towards your face. Wherever you are is perfect, and just holding this and breathing. Releasing that left foot to the mat, uncrossing that right leg, the windshield washer your leg, that feels good. And then finding that on the other side. So bending that right leg, placing the left ankle below our left knee, flexing those left toes, reaching through the back of the thigh. That feels okay. Making sure our shoulders are firmly rooted onto the mat. You can straighten that right leg if that feels okay. Flexing those toes. Finding whatever form of this stretch feels good for your body. And releasing us out of that. Bringing our arms into cactus or straight out to either side. Bringing our knees up into tabletop, so knees are over our hips. And we're slowly going to lower our legs to the right. As we look out over the left or to the sky, whichever way, making sure our left shoulder is rooted onto the mat. You can place a pillow or blocks or whatever you need to move underneath your knees, or move your knees further away from your torso to make it a little bit easier. And just holding this for a few beautiful breaths. On our next breath, inhaling our legs back to center. And as we exhale, lowering them to the left. And looking out over the right if that feels okay. Again, making sure our right shoulder is firmly rooted onto the mat. And then bringing our legs back to center, hugging it in. And we're gonna find happy baby or dead bug pose. So again, happy baby, reaching our hands through to the soles of our feet, the outer soles of our feet, holding down our feet with our biceps here, making sure our tailbone is firmly rooted onto the mat. Or dead bug pose, horrible name. Holding onto the backs of our thighs, pulling our shoulders or our knees into our shoulders here. Whichever one you're in is perfect. You can rock that out if that feels okay. Perhaps straightening the right leg and then the left, whatever movement you need here. And then bringing our knees in, lowering our feet to the mat, soles to touch, knees out to either side in that butterfly legs here, just for a couple breaths. Your hands can be on either side of your body. They can reach all the way up to the sky like the number 11. Just taking a nice deep inhale here. And exhaling it, sighing it out, letting it go. And then on our next breath, using our hands, closing up our legs like a book, and then releasing our feet to either edges and corners of the mat. Arms on either side of the body, palms facing up. Closing your eyes or softening your gaze into final resting pose or Shavasana. Knowing that it's now a time to let go, time to rest, and a time to just restore. and just focusing on your breath for a few moments. And on your next breath, taking a deep inhale through the nose, filling up your belly. And just exhale, softly sigh it out, let it go. And when you're ready, slowly start to wake yourself up, perhaps wiggling your fingers and your toes. And rock your head from side to side, circle out your wrists and your knee, or your ankles. If it feels good, you can find that big reach stretch. You can find knees to chest, whatever you need in this moment to bring yourself back. And when you're ready, bending your knees, facing your feet on the mat, reaching your right or your left arm above your head like a pillow, rolling over onto your right or left side, using your bicep as a pillow and taking this beautiful goodbye breath here. Knowing that this moment is available to you at any time you need it. You just have to remember. And on your next breath, pressing into your palm and making your way up into seated. And finding one last goodbye breath here, we're gonna reach our arms all the way up to the sky. And as we exhale our hands to heart center, finding some gratitude. And I'm so thankful for you to once again join me this evening. The love and the light in me truly sees the love and the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. I'm gonna unmute you.